There's one last thing that you need to be aware of when working with groupings of shapes of shrubs or plants. Doing this for a shape that has a pattern brush applied to it can be a little bit tricky. And let me just show you some of the things that you might bump into. Right now, this shape does not have any brushes applied to it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a brush. And actually, I'm going to reduce the stroke by half point. And this is one of the first ones that you could encounter, is that you apply a brush that would otherwise work, and just let me just apply the same brush to the shape. And so it's this one right here. And you can see that on this one, it applies to the inside of the circle, and on this one it's applying to the outside. One way to get around that is just by creating a mirror copy of the same brush. So in this case, I have two of the same ones just aligned to different sides of the vector line. That would be one way to get around it. The other way to get around it is by going under Object, Compound Path, and Make. And sometimes that can solve the problem for you. But I just like having two versions of the same one just for backup. The other issue that you can bump into is just sometimes these brushes have a hard time with hard edges, and they don't really resolve the union very well. For example, here you can see that my pattern is being applied just fine until it gets to this sharp edge, and then it has this long line at the very corner, which I don't like the way that looks. So the way to get around this is actually just select the shape and then switch to the direct selection tool, and you can soften those corners either by coming up here to the control panel and just upping that corner radius, and that'll do it globally for all the corners in the shape. And you can get that up to whatever you think might look reasonable. Or you can also use these little toggle lines or white circles on your shape and just do it manually. Just visually you can see how that gets modified until you get to a place where you like the way it looks. And then you can always expand the appearance of this and do something more detailed like this with the Life Paint Bucket tool if you want, or you can just leave it kind of sketched out look depending on which kind of look you're going for.